Did you know that 30,000 people left the church between 1982 and 86? I have all their addresses, including John Travolta. They talked to him going back. Yeah.
John left too? He's out
yeah, yeah.
Good for him.
And they left because of the trust factor. Because they didn't trust David, these guys. They knew he was lying. Anybody who's done Psychology 101 can tell when someone's lying to you. He was lying from the beginning. He was beating people up from the beginning. This is not a talk against him. This is a talk that how abusive it can get with no control. Saying you got to have that call. You got to have somebody looking at what you're doing. You know, there was a rumor I didn't have CSs, but I do. I have class 9. I have CS right on board. Listening to CSs for me, I CS for her. We double check each other. We have a committee, an OT committee, double checks everything I do. I'm going to Europe. They want shot from me. Right. Got your little snivel. Session. Ethics. Okay. Key here, to close up, is you got to handle that motivational factor. Find out how trainable he is. Get that motivation on up, from at least to personal gain. This is your tool. Do it. Then if you can get a guy here, he's knocking at your door at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what I would do. That's what I did. You know, when I was on the briefing course, I trained from 10 in the morning, 10 at night. For months. No 2D activity either. That's terrible. That was a joke. Anyway, falling asleep. All right. Let's see. Okay. So, another reason why no training has been occurred, or why the emphasis is out, is because LRH, when LRH was around, the emphasis was on training, was on the right side of the bridge. David Miscavige came about, it turned to the left side, processing. Now, was it because he could make more money? Yes. Was it because he wanted to monopolize the field?
Probably.
And get rid of the auditors?
Yeah.
You know, one of the first things he did was get rid of the missions and the ability for missions. I had a mission at the time when David came in. He said, you can no longer train anybody on Dianetics or meter training on your mission. Well, that was our bread and butter. See? And that was the org's bread and butter, because these Dianetic auditors go out and audit. Hundreds of hours of auditing. I've gotten about at least 1,000 hours of Dianetic audit. And it was great. Go audit. But that's the first thing he did, was get rid of the missions to even create auditors. And then every auditor in the field, I said, okay, then I'll quit my mission and audit the field. And then they came out with, well, you have to have your high crimes in, or you can't audit the field. Because he was rewriting the tech, right? So that got rid of a lot of old-timers and auditors. They didn't want to come back into the org or learn his tech. All right. I think I'm about done. Anybody have any questions on what I'm talking about here, or did you get it or not?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
You were going to mention about the fully legal, how it came back,
yeah. Dan Kuhn. Anybody know Dan Kuhn?
No.
Yeah. Dan Kuhn was in the church 26 years. Worked under David Miscavige. I sat with him over at Dianetics for about all day, right? And we sat there drinking coffee, and he told me all these stories, you know. And one thing he said was, and he said this, you know, very proudly. He says, "I'm the one that rewrote all the levels." And instead of making them 30 levels, 30 processes per level, or whatever they were, he made them 90 or whatever now. I mean, they're like, these levels go on and on. He says, yeah, I got an order from Miscavige, and I wrote it. I rewrote them. I dug out some LRH stuff. We quadded them up, and
We squirrel it.
Yes, I know, because I tried them. They don't work very good. The original BTBs work better, and that's what we do. Because that's what I was trained on. Okay. And what?
I just said, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
You did. But, okay. So this was Dan who said he wrote these. And I said, well, what about the FN? 3 times. I was getting there. Because he said, you know, like, well, I got complaints from people out of flag, you know, they said the auditor is staring at the meter. And if it doesn't go 3 times in, you won't call it. And they got a big problem with FNs at the org. And I'm going, well, what about LRH's statement about an FN once a week? That could be an FN. Then there's a bulletin on FNs on different types of, like FNs are different on OTs than there are on lower grade people or on Dianetics, you know. And what about Hubbard saying that everybody's FNs a little different? And they are. I've been auditing for 40 years. Every one of those species I audited, their FN's a little different. But these guys are going, it's mechanical FN, right? And he said, well, my wife wrote that. Susan Kuhn.
Oh my God.
She was ordered by Miscavige to write that. And so I guess she's off the hook. She was ordered. And he showed me the bulletin. I got the bulletin, and it had her initials on it. He goes, yeah, it's my wife. That's he, her.
Is there no basis for any kind of LRH?
Well, I was looking for it today. I was looking for it today, where LRH says a policy that says, oh, the only one that can change policy or Capt. It says LRH and, the word and, CR personnel or something like that. You know, what do you prove? CR people, you might approve somebody. I said, okay. So this is a green on white thing, and I found this thing, right? When I was in Europe. They had it. These guys had so much stuff, they didn't know what they had sometimes. I don't know. They let me copy stuff. Anyway, so then I found another bulletin that was written later by Miscavige that said, no one can change policy or tech. I'm just, you know, saying this. I'll try to find it for you. No one can change policy or tech except LRH and the RTC organization or something like this. So they put and. So at that moment, he had the authority given by whoever was left in the church, because I didn't give it to him. I said, no, I'm not going to do this. That's why I got a rid of expulsion from the church. I refused to do golden era tech or retraining, so they expelled me. But yeah, he said and. Where the original one says LRH, you know, and CR. But anyway, they got.
I was talking to Jack over there. He might want to speak up on this, but he said there was a reference in E-meter Essentials. Have you heard that? And that is where it came from. Do you? And I can't remember E-meter Essentials now. Is it a book?
And he talks about just the definition of floating needle, rhythmic sweep of the dial, slowly increase the gain. That is where it came from. And the RTCED that came down the line referenced this many times, and the way it was written is that you were just kind of dumb for not having gotten it. And this is what LRH intended this whole time. So it was taking the quote, and any of you guys that have trained since then, we had to M9 it over and over and over, and then go watch the new tech film. And the tech film showed it over this many times, and you had to like methodate all of the definitions in the word rhythmic until you could duplicate what you saw in the film. That's what he meant, and you know. So there was never a clear statement anywhere, because then no one could get in trouble. It was always your interpretation, but it was very guided. So.
But the E-meter Essentials, is that a book?
Yes. It defines the floating.
It's in that book, but he said here's some samples.
Thank you. But the rhythmic thing which you mentioned, rhythm really does mean at least 2. I mean, you can't have the rhythm.
Well, that's
Okay, well, we can debate this, but it's definitely a debatable fact, because I dug up a bunch of bulletins. But see, remember earlier I talked about opinion versus fact, right? You have to look at facts. You know, is that PC in front of you FN or not? The hell with his opinion of what an FN is. You know, did it erase? Did it key out? See, is the guy FNing or not? And that's what you got to look at. You got to look at the guy and say, what is the fact? What's the truth here? And if he says, yes, yeah, your needle's floating, and he agrees to that, and he's like, big smile. I mean, that's the fact. And the hell is opinion? Well, what it is. All right? Okay.
Can I say something about this? On the recording image you'll see tomorrow, it's very easy to see an FN, even if you don't see it on the needle easily because of the transmission. It's a sine wave. You see a sine wave, it's an FN. There's no way you get a sine wave on a graph recording unless it was an FN.
Okay, why don't you talk about that when you come
We'll
up
talk
here?
about this later.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? You got it. I gotta go. Any other questions?
Well, this isn't a question, but I've seen just needles with the back and forth once, and there's a rhythm to it. It's a different rhythm than a reed. It's not.
It's a portion of the sine wave. It's a sine wave.
That's why you have to, like, if you're totally in ARC and in common with that PC, your knowingness knows that this guy has erased or has in that cycle.
Yeah.
And that's your intuitive knowingness, and did the PC do that? And that's the fact, and that's what you gotta like really. I mean, otherwise the meters run the session, and that's what they teach in the org is the meters run the session. No, you the auditor run the session. Yeah. One more question in the back.
Right, I just want to originate this. I believe if you're there with the person in front of you, if you're seeing the person in front of you, you're watching that person's indicators, the light in their eye, the color in their face, you know, you're auditing the person in front of you. The meter is an extension of your perceptions, but it's your perception of that person. You can always tell when the needle's flowing if you're watching the person in front of you.
Yeah. Plus the needle is only a verification of what just happened. Right.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, if you're at that out of present time, that you need the meter to tell you that the guy hit an EP. I mean, you need a lot more practice.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you very much. And that's it.